Nicole, honey, if you see this, if you're out there, you can come to me. I'm not mad at you. I'm worried about you. Your family's worried about you. Just come home.
A vibrant, smart, and loving 13-year-old girl goes missing for multiple days without a trace. Her friends and family could not think of a reason why she would have run away from home or stayed away for an extended period of time. So, once they woke up and discovered she was missing, panic immediately started to set in. Friends, family, and volunteers did all they could to find her and bring her home safely. But unfortunately, she would be found naked and stabbed to death 3 days after her disappearance. This devastated her hometown community of Blacksburg, Virginia. But it was only the beginning of an investigation that would uncover a cold and calculated timeline of events which led to her demise. Hello there, and if you're here for the first time, please subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell beside it so you get notifications whenever I upload new content. And if you've been here before, thank you for coming back. Please don't forget to drop a like on the video as it helps the channel out immensely and allows me to bring you more of this content in the future. In today's video, we'll be talking about the case of Nicole Lovell, who thought she was meeting up with a friend that she met online, but would be betrayed and killed with the help of someone she trusted. Nicole Lovell was a 13-year-old schoolgirl with a passion for pandas, music, and dancing, living in Blacksburg, Virginia with her mother, Tammy Weeks, and her maternal grandparents. Although Nicole's father, David Lovell, wasn't completely out of the picture after leaving Tammy before their daughter was born, he and Nicole had a difficult relationship. Unfortunately, one look at the teenager's social media posts revealed the absent father wasn't Nicole's only issue. Nicole was born with a damaged liver and needed a transplant to survive. Before her first birthday, Nicole underwent life-saving surgery and began living with her new liver and daily anti-rejection medication. The surgery and an emergency tracheotomy left Nicole's stomach and neck scarred, which resulted in the shy and quiet teenager being bullied by her peers. According to Tammy, Nicole hated going to school and felt nobody cared about her, as she often wrote on her social media. Nicole was going through a sadly common phase in a teenager's life. Trouble fitting in, feeling lonely, and only wanting someone to connect with and be loved. Failing to find what she longed for, Nicole began to spend more and more time on her phone and live her life online, in a world where you can meet new people and make friends with a couple of clicks. But in Nicole's case, seemingly harmless conversations soon turned into a nightmare when she messaged her future killer. On the morning of January 27, 2016, Tammy went to her daughter's room. It was a teacher's work day for the Montgomery County school system, and Nicole didn't have to get up early. But she still needed to take her medication. Oddly, Tammy found herself unable to open the door because a nightstand had been pushed against it. Confused, Tammy then discovered the room's window open and Nicole missing. But where could have the 13-year-old gone in the middle of the night? Starting to panic, Tammy rushed to her truck while calling Nicole's phone. But her calls went straight to voicemail. Feeling something was terribly wrong, Tammy contacted the police and reported her daughter missing, before beginning to talk with friends and neighbors, hoping someone would have seen Nicole. What she ended up learning sent shivers down Tammy's spine. According to a neighborhood mother, Nicole had been playing with her daughters earlier and told them that she was going on a date. Knowing her daughter spent a lot of time on social media, Tammy feared Nicole may have sneaked out to see someone she'd met on the internet. If that was the case, it was too terrifying to even think about the reasons why the teenager had not yet returned home. Soon, television and radio stations were broadcasting alerts about the missing girl, and police, rescue workers, and volunteers were searching for Nicole. The town of Blacksburg was a total area of about 20 square miles containing many parks, forests, and mountainous terrain, making searches challenging in places. But things were made easier when students from nearby Virginia Tech joined the efforts and utilized drones to go through the area from the sky. Meanwhile, Nicole's parents made heartbreaking pleas to their daughter through the press. David said, "Nicole, honey, if you see this, if you're out there, you can come home to me. I'm not mad at you. I'm worried about you. Your family's worried about you. Just come home." But hours kept passing without any sign of Nicole, and panic started to turn to despair. Due to the liver transplant that saved her life as a newborn, Nicole needed anti-rejection medication twice a day. Missing 1 or 2 doses was enough to cause problems and, at worst, lead to death. But on the 3rd day of the search, it was sadly found out that the race against time was already lost. The naked body of a young girl was discovered in neighboring Surry County, North Carolina, about 80 miles from Blacksburg, just off of Route 89. She was soon identified as 13-year-old Nicole Lovell. A post-mortem examination revealed the teenager had suffered a total of 14 stab wounds, but the one on her neck had been the cause of her death. Foreign DNA was found underneath Nicole's fingernails, suggesting she had been fighting for her life viciously. The only consolation for Nicole's devastating parents was the fact that by now, the authorities already had the killer in custody. The investigators had discovered handwritten usernames and passwords to all of Nicole's social media and messaging accounts on her bedroom wall. When the FBI took a closer look at Nicole's information, they realized she was a regular user of Kik, a popular chatting app that is considered controversial because of its anonymity features. Tammy had found the app on Nicole's phone earlier and made her delete it, having no way of controlling who the teenager was talking to. But it seemed that Nicole had reinstalled Kik before her disappearance with fatal consequences. The FBI then put in an emergency disclosure request to Kik and quickly found out that on the days leading to her death, Nicole had been talking with someone under a creepy username, Dr_Tombstone. That username was linked to an IP address that was provided to the FBI by Kik, and that IP address was traced back to an 18-year-old David Eisenhower. The investigators found out David was a freshman engineering student at Virginia Tech, the same school that had helped to search for Nicole. At the first glance, David didn't exactly seem like someone who would lure a 13-year-old girl from her home in the middle of the night and stab her to death. David was described as a clever and charismatic straight-A student and an athlete. What had gone wrong? Just before the discovery of Nicole's body, David was located by the police at his dorm and taken in for questioning. David quickly admitted he had been talking with Nicole on Kik and had seen her outside her house on the night of her disappearance. But David claimed he had left as soon as he realized she was much younger than he had thought. David told the investigators, "I see like she's 11 and I go, oh no, gotta get out of here, I gotta get out of here. David was adamant nothing had happened between him and Nicole, seemingly forgetting the police had access to their whole online conversation. The two had actually been talking for months. Based on the earlier messages, the investigators came to the conclusion David and Nicole had met in person at least once before the fatal night, and had possibly gotten sexually intimate. Could it be Nicole was killed to cover up the inappropriate relationship? This theory was soon confirmed by another freshman from Virginia Tech, 19-year-old Natalie Keepers, who David implicated during the questioning. According to Natalie, she had met David at the freshman orientation at the university. The two quickly became close and were seemingly able to share absolutely everything with each other, even plans about killing someone. Allegedly, David had approached Natalie with a serious problem, explaining he might have had sex with a 13-year-old girl at a party, but couldn't remember because he was so intoxicated. David said he blacked out that night and later woke up in a ditch. It wasn't until Nicole threatened to expose their relationship that David realized what had happened. He couldn't risk his future being thrown away because of having sex with a minor, and potentially being registered as a sex offender. Instead, David decided to destroy the life of the young girl together with Natalie. Natalie told the detectives she saw David as a sociopath and herself as a sociopath in training. When asked why she agreed to help David get rid of Nicole, Natalie replied she was excited to be part of something special and secret. The two went through several ideas, including switching the teenager's medication to cyanide pills, before coming up with the final plan. On Tuesday, January 26, they bought a shovel and went out to have dinner before David dropped Natalie back at her dorm. David then drove to Nicole's home to pick her up from their prearranged date. There was no way for the 13-year-old to know she would be taken into the woods and stabbed 14 times. The following day, David returned to the scene together with Natalie to dispose of the body together on the road by David's grandparents' house. It was thanks to Natalie's statement that the police knew where to go look for Nicole. After the heartbreaking discovery, David Eisenhower and Natalie Keepers were officially arrested and charged with their involvement in the murder of Nicole Lovell. It took 2 years before David's trial began in February 2018. To everyone's surprise, after initially pleading not guilty, David changed his plea after 4 days of testimony, likely realizing there was no point fighting the amount of evidence against him. In addition to their online conversations, the prosecution had security footage of David and Natalie buying the shovel. David's DNA was found under Nicole's nails, and her blood was located inside his car. David's internet search history also told a bone-chilling story about a young man planning a murder. How long does it take to burn a body? And how does TV serial killer Dexter get rid of bodies? In the end, David Eisenhower was sentenced to 60 years in prison for the abduction and murder of Nicole Lovell. During sentencing, he spoke to the 13-year-old's family, saying, "I'm sorry for the pain my actions have caused for Nicole Lovell and her family. It is my deepest regret, and I'm aware my actions have consequences. Nothing can ever undo what has been done, and for that, I'm deeply, sincerely, and forever sorry." In turn, Natalie pleaded guilty on August 13, 2018 to concealing Nicole's body, but denied being present at the time of the murder and claimed David was solely responsible for it. However, Natalie was strongly linked to the crime, not just because of her initial interview, but as the investigators found a Minions blanket that belonged to Nicole covered in blood inside Natalie's room. Her plan print was also discovered on the shovel. On September 20th, 2018, Natalie Keepers was found guilty of accessory to murder and sentenced to 40 years in prison. Natalie also apologized to Nicole's family, although she seemed to be more sorry for herself. Earlier in the investigation, Natalie told the investigators David ruined her life, while 13-year-old Nicole Lovell was the one who was robbed of her future, hopes, and dreams. While we will most likely never know what kind of roles David and Natalie actually had in this cold-blooded murder, because the two kept pointing fingers at each other, Nicole Lovell's death serves as a gruesome reminder of the dangers of social media. As Tammy Weeks said, "I hope everyone learns from this. Hold their kids tight, 'cause it can happen to you." I'd like to hear your thoughts about this case in the comments section. Were you aware that there were anonymous chat apps out there? Is there something more that we can do to protect our children from being sought out by individuals they should not be in contact with? Or do parents need to take autonomy away from their kids and oversee what kind of apps and communication they engage in to try and prevent situations like this from happening? Don't forget to like this video and share it with the people you know who may enjoy this content as well. It helps the channel grow and allows me to create this content for you in the future. Catch you in the next video.